How do we deal with life on an everyday basis? Because it's all easy to say, be indifferent, don't care, sometimes we fly between the two. We might become cynical and detached and say, I don't care. And that's how we generally live life. We become very cynical, detached, kind of like live in our space, think the whole world's going crazy. But then we're living in this small space. We kind of maybe even use substances to numb ourselves. And we're then not living as such. We're kind of just existing and complaining and criticizing and judging the world. But we want to do something more. We want to build relationships which are powerful. We want to give. We want to make a difference. We want to have meaning. We want to have value in our lives. And what that demands is that we move beyond. And this is where, let's bring in the statement of the logic and the rationality. Because this is how we engage the world. At the moment, I am speaking English, hopefully in a language you can understand logically and rationally. Because it's all very well, I come from a space of love or something and I stand here and grin at you. And I'm like, what the hell was this guy about, right? So I endeavor to shift at a logical and rational level. What is logic and rationality? It might be, as we say here, it's at a level where we agree on how we see the world, how it operates, how it functions. And this is very importantly where what's interesting, you agree when we have a fight at a physical level, that's complete separation, that's complete disunity. When countries go to war, it's a physical difference. They will find physical differences between yourself and the other. Like even when they go to war, how do they know who to shoot? In the movies we see there were different types of helmets or something to that extent, right? We look at physical differences. At an emotional level, it's an emotional disagreement, hopefully less so than the physical, and a mental is just a disagreement. But here, rather than separation, you are looking for unity. You are now seeking a solution to the problem. Because when you fight someone at a physical, emotional level, you have a problem. Here, you seek a solution. Now, many of us work. When you go to work, you agree that we are looking for a logical, rational solution to a problem. So if you are selling a widget and someone wants that widget, you are providing them with a solution to a problem because that widget matters to their lives. I'm just thinking of my kids, when they lose the remote for the TV, that's a big problem. The solution means looking, and the two of them will gang up, as in, go search. You look underneath the couch. It's obviously underneath that cushion. You look there. Maybe mom's hid it because we didn't do our homework last night, and they'll go checking out mom's cupboards or endeavor to manipulate mom. So they will unite to find a solution to a problem. Their minds are working. What we need to do is agree that we need to find a solution. It means a coming together of minds. This is, in fact, corporates are about. Coming together to find a solution to problems at a logical and rational level. Hopefully at a corporate level, most of our problems can be logically and rationally solved. But you also know this, as much as you both agree this is the way, it may not necessarily solve all relationships. And then beyond the logic and rationality is a space of emotion. And that's where you come from, a space of love, compassion, kindness. That's where you give the emotion, and that is also coming together. Love is about coming together, not just communicating, but it's connecting at that emotional level. As Maya Angelou, I use this statement, often said, it's not what you do for people that matters, it's how you make them feel. So you marry people not because what they do for you. Maybe you married your plumber, your electrician, but at some point, it's more so, 99% of relationships is how the other person makes you feel. And you have to give that compassion, that kindness, that caring, in spite of the problems in your lives. And that's more of a coming together. So if you look at the spectrum, the triggers then become less so of an issue, and you will be triggered. As much as you endeavor, there'll be that one trigger that throws you off your path, but you have to give, you have to build. And what's fascinating, if you look at this pathway, if you are coming from a place of complete disunity, then you're coming from a very small place. But as you go through this pathway, you have to expand who you are. You have to come from a broader mind, as we say. You have to come from a space that embraces the entire world in unity. And you have to give. And at its final level of spirituality, we spoke of Mandela, of people like Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, is that in spite of all, they just gave. And what then happens is that you're in cahoots, you're in flow with a universal flow. You are absolutely in synchronicity with a far more powerful energy. So in many ways, I'll say it, is that they transcended these menial things that you and I experience every day. Someone cut me off in traffic and I showed them the finger, and you hope like hell your car goes faster than yours. When they taste you, that's a physical, emotional reaction. But then you are not then reacting and just impulsively behaving. You have transcended because you are deciding that you are more than the mind, you are more than your emotions. You are coming from a far more powerful place. Let's call it spiritual. Let's call it meaning. Let's call it your purpose. Let's call it your calling, your legacy. Because they end and you are not subservient to all that exists before. And what happens then? You have transcended all the substances that you use to get you to that space. Because then you're in a state of exaltation, you're powerful. You are not allowing yourself to be because of a trigger, a stress. You have transcended the trigger of stress. Triggers and stresses will happen, but you've created or you've conjoined with a far more universal flow. It is challenging. Why? Because over the years, some will argue generations, because you carry the genetic material of generations before you, thousands of generations, right, of DNA, have wired ourselves. At some stage, our ancestors believed they were the body, and all they had to keep safe was our bodies. Then beyond that, in the last 500 years, we've entered an intellectual age where we now think. So you can slice me, and I'm not saying we do that. You can physically hurt me, but dare you mentally challenge me, we hate that. All right? Because physically you can heal yourself, but mentally what someone said to you 10, 20 years ago, you will remember, because that's at a very far more deeper space, the mental. But to transcend that and get to that amazing space means you have to hook up to something far more stronger than what you and I have defined ourselves as, what we've labeled ourselves as. And then you are a net giver in terms of relationships. You come from a space of absolute responsibility rather than reactionary. You're seeing how you can shift the world. But it's not like just smiling, yay, yo. It's a place of fulfillment where your cup splits over. You are able to give rather than seeing yourself as depleted. And that's what makes us powerful.